All right, episode 5 of our trade guide video series. You can find episodes 1 to 4 on YouTube. You can find the Western Conference trade guide on ESPN.com, along with the Eastern Conference trade guide. Everything you need to know, in-depth analysis, trades we'd like to see, front office history, salary cap information, draft assets, basically everything you need to know going into the trade guide, and we will update as things change, or maybe there is no changes and that just stays as is when we get closer to February 9th. So we are going to talk about the Northwest Division, right? Is that what they call it, the Northwest Division? And I think we're going to start with Denver, right? We'll go alphabetical order here. And I think from a trade meter standpoint, 0 to 10, I think they're probably right around a 3. And it's not because of limited draft assets that they have to trade. It's a lot to do with when you have as good of a team, and a lot of it, what's going on in Denver is based on health, right? We saw last year when Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray out, they were a first-round team, right? I think they overachieved a year ago here, and now you look at this Denver team. They are healthy. They are one of the top teams in the Western Conference. They are one of the top teams in the NBA. They have a legit shot of getting to the NBA Finals here. So if you're looking at it, what do you have to offer? And I think that what we wrote about was certainly the Ish Smith contract, makes around $4.7 million. What does that get you? The one trade we'd like to see, does it get you another guard and a player like Hamidou Diallo from Detroit? Attach a draft pick to it, a second-round pick. Does that make sense if you're the Nuggets? The other thing is that you've got a $9.1 million trade exception here that you can go out and acquire a player or look to acquire a player. You need to have a roster spot available here. But how much is ownership willing to add to their already high, well, not high for Brooklyn's sake or Golden State's sake, but they've got an $18 million tax penalty, right? The first time they've paid since 09-10. How much more are they willing to go out and spend? Because if you use the full amount, it will cost you about $26 million, and it could be as a rental here. Everybody's looking for wings. Everybody's looking for bigs. Are you comfortable with DeAndre Jordan as your backup to Jokic? Do you need more wing? Everybody needs wings, right? Everybody would love to have a Josh Richardson for 3 months here, but I don't see this how this Denver roster is constructed. Top heavy with salary, not many of those in-between contracts. Guys like Bruce Brown are off the board, certainly in trades. He's been fantastic here, and that's kind of where we look at Ish Smith as kind of that odd man out here. So that is the Denver Nuggets. I'm just scrolling down here. Where are we? We're in the L's. We talked about Memphis in the Southwest. Minnesota. Minnesota is fascinating because there is a small financial window if they are looking to use cap space. And why I say that small financial window is because you've got Rudy Gobert on a supermax. Eventually, the Karl Anthony Towns supermax is going to kick in 2024. You are going to have Anthony Edwards extension eligible to sign this offseason. He can sign this offseason, but it doesn't take effect until 2024. So you've got this window here where you've got to figure out if D'Angelo Russell is your point guard of the future. He's only 26 years old. He's averaging 17 points, 6 assists. He should be in line. We should be talking about D'Angelo Russell when it comes to extension. But we're not. We're talking about D'Angelo Russell as a trade chip to maybe go out and target players that have another year left on their contract. I wrote about Kyle Lowry in the Timberwolves section. I don't see why Utah would want to do business for Mike Conley Jr. unless you're getting really something of value, and the Jazz have all their draft picks from the Timberwolves. Hey, I don't see where that comes into play, but that's the type of deals. If you're looking to move Russell, is to take back a point guard that has another year left on their contract, which would be for the 23-24 season. They're another team, top heavy in contracts. Not many of those in-between guys. The Kyle Andersons of the world. You've got Naz Reid, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent, who's extension eligible also. You've got basically 8 players with salaries from ranging from $1 to $8.8 million. But, the Austin Rivers, Bryce Forbes, guys like that, that doesn't do it for me here. So certainly D'Angelo Russell is a guy to probably keep an eye on when we're talking about Minnesota. We talked about New Orleans with the Southwest. Oklahoma City, they are knocking on the door. The cake is not baked. Do not take it out of the oven quite yet. And when I say don't take it out of the oven quite yet, you are not in a position. You have the assets. You've got the draft capital. You've got the players to go big game hunting. All right? You want to call Toronto and give whatever you want for OG Anunoby? You could probably go out and do that. I don't know if Toronto will bite, but you've got the draft capital. But what happens when he leaves? Let's say he leaves in 2024 when he's a free agent and you're out of, your window is so wide open. And you're not there yet. You're going to get there if you keep on developing this group they should have won the game in Miami if it didn't go to free throw line 40 times. But you are knocking on the door. You might be in the play-in, right? You're not a seller. You're kind of just seeing, you're basically going to one of these high-end stores, I guess Nordstrom, for people who shop at Nordstrom, and you're just looking at the price tags, right? That's kind of what you're looking at as far as the price tag, as far as what things cost out there. And you've got 2 exceptions, $10 and $4 million. Every one of your players on your roster have value. So if you're going to use the exception, who's going? It's not going to be Mike Muscala, who's one of your older players, probably the oldest player on the youngest team in the NBA here. So that's why you're in this kind of precarious position where you can keep on developing with this group and then maybe go big swing in the summer. Maybe go big swing next off season here. So you're getting there, right? But you got to have patience, right, with what you have right now. So that is Oklahoma City, Portland. Certainly Jeremy Grant, who's extension eligible, became extension eligible on January 7th. 4 years, 112.6. Are you comfortable extending him to that big number? He's professed his love there. He has a chance to make an all-star team. You extend him, you're locked in. This is kind of who your group is. We focus on... It's hard for Portland because their bench is not good. It's young, but you've got guys like Nasir Little, who's going to be back, and Justice Winslow out, and then you won't see guys, the Keon Johnsons of the world, playing. They are literally pocket change away from the luxury tax, $67,482, right? My big question is, do they have the green light to go into the tax if it upgrades their bench? They would forfeit $17 million in tax distribution. That's a big question here when it comes to Portland. So that's the Trailblazers, and everything we're talking about is on ESPN.com. And then certainly Utah. Utah, we thought was going to be kind of the for sale sign on the front yard, and it still could be. They are right in the play-in. They've got basically if they want to sell, Malik Beasley, Jordan Clarkson, Jared Vanderbilt, Mike Conley, Rudy Gay. If they want to buy, they've got the contracts. They've got the draft equity from Minnesota, from Cleveland. Circle Utah on your teams to watch list when we get going here in the next few weeks here, because Clarkson's got a player option. He's extension eligible. Beasley's got a team option. He's extension eligible. Jared Vanderbilt's got high value. He's got a team option for next year. Conley's got a partial for next year. I mean, they are well positioned for now and the future here, and they're going to have to make a decision on some of their players. You don't have to do anything with Vanderbilt. You don't have to do anything with Conley. You don't have to do anything with Beasley. I think you have to focus on certainly Clarkson just based on career year, player option, will likely opt out. We'll probably look for $20 million. Are you comfortable paying him that? So that is the episode 5 of the Northwest Division. Hopefully everyone is having a great day out there, and we will talk soon.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.